Hello, friends, and welcome to Talking with Famous People. My name's host Eric. I'm the host of Talking with Famous People. This is Rachel. She's the other host of Talking with Famous People, and we're here to talk about, does your type matter? Depends on your type. So I was inclined to make this title of the video because it occurred to me today just how little my dad's type matters to him or could matter to him. Whenever I try to even begin to explain to him things like, okay, well, that had to do with your personality type, he just glazes right over. I think he can't really conceive of universals being determinate about his own person in that fashion when it seems like everything is experiential knowledge to him. So, on the other hand, I have typed people before who had been mistyped by somebody else, for example, prior to me, who came in quite almost distraught over the ontological challenges of being the wrong type. Hi, King Krishna Samaprabhu.
Hey.
I will also state that, in fact, I saw it with Rachel when I had her as the wrong type. It caused her some distress. She didn't think she matched up very well with an ENFJ. And, was asking me more information about ENFJs, and things I was telling her didn't seem to match up with her own experience of herself. And this bothered her a lot.
Yeah.
And it bothered an ENTP I typed a lot when she had been typed as something not ENTP. It's a German lady, Christy, and one of her friends who had been typed as ESTJ, but clearly wasn't. And so, those people had been bothered quite a bit. Well, Isaiah is working with me now, so yeah. Have been bothered by quite a bit by the PhD. Yeah, he got his doctorate in philosophy. I was surprised by that too. Makes sense in retrospect as to why he kept talking to me about philosophy and stuff as a kid. But it was also very much, I think, for him, an exercise in deductive reasoning and in anti-NI warfare. Like, I can break down everything, and if I can't, then it's a wash of particularism with no universals in it. It's just he has a very. I think he got into philosophy as a way of attacking religion.
IKKSP.
He's kind of a enthusiastic atheist in some regard.
Yeah, that's a good explanation.
Right.
For
so,
your dad.
And it does go to show you something. This is why you cannot trust type descriptions. A correct type description of an ESTJ would say, very unlikely to have a degree in a PhD in philosophy. A correct type description of an INTP or an ENTP would say, most likely of the types to have a degree in philosophy. I don't have a degree in philosophy, and my father does. He is nevertheless 100,000,000% an ESTJ. There is no disputing that fact. He is as textbook, as poster boy an ESTJ as they get. And yet, also, he has a PhD in philosophy. So, this is the thing. People can deviate from others' expectations regarding them if they derive those expectations from type descriptions. And it's one of the reasons why it's so difficult to come up with an accurate type description. If you're describing behaviors or things like that, you're going to have to use likelihoods. If you're describing cognitive functions, that's not exactly a type description. So I'm going to pause now, take a bong rip. Rachel, do you have any comments on my initial foray there into this topic?
No.
Okay. Isaiah Rude, why did your ESTJ brother get an escort home from the police? What did he do?
And definitely that sentence deserves a ha-ha with that. We didn't have a ride home. I've been there.
Isaiah Rude, man, just say the way your first name is spelled, completely unacceptable. There are
911?
4 vowels and 2 consonants. Too many vowels per consonant. Well, did they come and say, what's your emergency? And he said, man, my ride bailed on me. I think type is good for becoming aware of the differences and similarities between people. Other than that, I'm not sure it's important. I was asked before, I've been indicated to me before, things like, well, what difference does it make what type Rachel is? Don't you guys love her all the same either way? Don't you guys love each other all the same either way? Well, yeah, sure. It doesn't really matter to me what type she is. It matters to her what type she is.
True. It does. That's something I was researching before we even met and started talking. I was highly interested in my type.
And a lot of people are very concerned about getting it right and having the right type, and they don't like it when people say, you're not really that type, and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. Good point.
SI taking down SI, lol. Am I taking down SI? I don't think so. Do you know what thesis or dissertation topic your dad did? I don't, but you know, a lot of the sort of themes that I talk about, I guess, are themes that he introduced to me. He taught political science for a while. So at a university, he was a professor of poli-sci, and among other things he did. The thing is, he likes to treat philosophy like political science as this sort of catalog of facts one can articulate. And before I even realized he had a PhD in philosophy, before I saw that when I moved in here not very long ago, I had always assumed he had his PhD in education, which is what his field was that he was in. And instead, it's in philosophy. Well, prior to me knowing this, I joked about how he always talked to me about philosophy, but it was as though he had read a book on it, and when he got to the end of the chapter, he had nothing else to say about it. I'd say, okay, well, here's some follow-up questions I have for you. And he'd be like, I don't know. That's all. That's all there is to it. It's just basically like, that's the end of the chapter.
That's very funny. So he concluded it was the most effective response. Very funny. He had Uber.
How old is your brother? He's young enough that might qualify. As the cops might be like, all right, fine.
I guess no one for an emergency. And I would be the first one.
Maybe I'm gonna call 911 next time I can't find my keys. Emergency! I can't find my keys. Can you don't send the cops or the paramedics. Send me the forest search and rescue people to look for my keys. They're good at finding things. Send the hounds. I have a piece of clothing that my keys wore one time. And the hounds can smell that and they can find my keys. Did your dad ever wonder where the original philosopher got their ideas from? No. Not really. I don't think he cares about that sort of thing. Well, he attributes things to experts. You know, like, except this is if you're fucking anti-polar. It's like my mom, he's keeping track with his SI of when and how often she poops. And according to him, she didn't poop for 2 full days, and so he gave her fucking laxatives.
How much laxative though?
2 X-Laxes. And this morning it was just absolute disaster.
Oh.
I said, Dad, next time can you please just let nature take its course? I tried to explain to him last night. You know, often I'll skip a day where I don't poop, and then I'll poop a lot maybe the next day or the day after that. I get a little constipated sometimes. Just, you know, let your body's natural variances take place. Let her body's natural variances take place. There was no reason to conclude that you need to be given laxatives.
That much is a lot because your mom's, that's just a lot of laxative.
If you lose your keys all the time, is that an SE polar thing? It's an intuitive thing. Failing to keep track of your objects and knocking shit over and being not aware of your body and space is intuition above sensing. So it's true for INFPs, INTPs, INFJs, ENFJs, even ENTJs and INTJs, and all the intuitives. Yeah, it's true for all of them. We lose our shit and we knock shit over. Rachel can tell you.
We have body. Yeah.
I can't move hardly without knocking something over.
I just hit my toe on the shelf we have here, the desk. Yeah, you constantly.
That's funny. That's a great scene for a movie, actually. Where somebody, there's a frazzled guy who's got some shit going on, and they show him pulling up, leaving the car running, run inside, get the super big golf. Somebody else comes in, pulls up, they're up in the same kind of car, gets out, and the guy comes. It shows him go in, the other guy come out. They never take the camera off of the front of the store, which has 2 cars parked in front of it, and the 2 guys going in succession.
I used to just snark at you for using the bigger hammer philosophy, but then do stuff like that.
Yeah, right, totally. Or his insistence that as he was going back and forth, just I don't know whether it should be relaxative or no. It kept going back to the same point. I need to call the nurse. I need to call the nurse and talk to her. I need to talk to some sort of expert. I need to delegate my NI to somebody into TE. I need to turn it into TE. Find the expert. Some things are very obvious, and you don't need an expert to confirm them. But my dad always does.
I mean, that's not a bad idea for him to be calling a nurse.
Yeah, but he doesn't ever listen to me.
I know.
It's like I've long since given up trying to persuade him about practical matters. I can always put him in a pinch as far as needing to give me some sort of definitive answer by predicating some action upon something, like I did with the wheelchair things. That's possible in general. I need to know because I need to know if I'm going to meow. Is always an effective argument to get some sort of an answer out of them.
Yeah.
They are funny and frustrating.
Mm-hmm. They are funny and frustrating. Those are 2 words I would use for them too.
The thing about an ESTJ is because they're so experientially framed, it's like my dad, what he believes and what he thinks is very tied to his experience, his recent experience. He's very much subject to a recency bias. So it's like whatever he's experienced most recently, that's the way things are. Even if things were very different yesterday, that's the way things are. Now, interestingly, when Rachel and I had fights early on, it was kind of because in instances when I think Rachel's normally deft NI would break down a bit. And when her NI broke down a bit, it looked a little bit like an ESTJ, which is to say she'd take a particular instance and figure it was representative of a new pattern, even when it was just a deviation from the pattern. And that was because we were both there's both so much like fear / baggage about how to deal with each other and what to expect and what comprised a red flag and what all that kind of shit. Hi, Octavio Silva.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Yeah, anti-polar people are so hard to convince that despite that person's experience, something else is actually what matters in a given situation. That sums it up beautifully. Anti-polar people are very hard to convince that even though they have their experience, something other than their experience matters in that situation. That's fucking sums it up beautifully. So does type matter? Well, it depends on your type. For people who are mistyped and who are intuitives or who are finding pushback on their type and their intuitives, it can be frustrating. It depends how much they're trying to do with that beginning spot. So, for example, if I try to say, look, here's what's up about ENTPs. you should take my words about this seriously because number one, I know a lot about cognitive functions and typology and stuff like that. And number two, you have good reason to think that my information is pretty solid, at least, even if you want to be oppositional, at least it's well considered. And then lastly, because I am an ENTP. Well, then if somebody comes to you and says, well, you're not an ENTP, then part of the reason why people get annoyed by this phenomenon when it happens to them is they're trying to make points based on a given fact that ought not be in dispute from their perspective, namely the given type they say they are. But the fact is, lots and lots of people are not the type they say they are. And additionally, lots and lots of people who are the type they say they are continually are told they're not the type they say they are by random people who usually are trying to be sort of position themselves as the expert or take on the role of the pedant, the one who knows best, the gauge of all knowing. Now, I've been accused of thinking I'm the gauge of all knowing. And this is, one of the things that a previous relationship partner told me early on was, you're not the gauge of all knowing. I'm not the gauge of all knowing, but I do sometimes sort of position myself as such. So I understand why somebody would say that to me. I have to be the gauge of all knowing for myself, as does everybody, ultimately. You got to make the decisions about what you're going to affirm, what you're going to negate, what you're going to believe, what you're going to not care about, what you're going to bother to argue about, what you're not going to bother to argue about. You're going to have to be those choices one way or the other. Is unavoidable. You can't avoid being. So, in that regard, I don't know where I was going with that. Lost train of thought.
My hair is still wet, so I tend to play with it when it's wet. It's bothering me.
It looks wonderful.
Yeah.
You look like you belong in a hair commercial. A hair commercial that's designed to highlight the body and sheen of a lovely head of hair.
This is my dude.
Mm-hmm. You could be in one of those Pantene commercials where the lady goes, swoosh, 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 and her hair goes swish around.
Thank you, baby.
Another unrelated problem is people get a type on a test and they think they are a type, and then they change their interaction to fit as that type in discussion online, at least, or they try to. The thing is, that's not effective. And the types that are most likely to do that are, say, I've seen ENFPs positioning themselves as and posturing as ENTPs, and I've seen ESFPs doing the same thing. I think those are probably the most common postures. Also, ENFJs posturing as ENTPs. ESTPs don't tend to posture as ENTPs. They tend to mistake their ESTP hood for actual ENTP hood. And that's because the test spit out way too many intuitives. Every smart ESTP gets typed as an ENTP. They don't start to try to act like ENTPs. They just assume that the way they are is how ENTPs actually are.
Boom.
But ENFJs, ESFPs, and ENFPs do posture thusly. So, it's I guess somewhat nuanced in terms of positioning oneself as various types. And ESFPs you can't change their opinion about it. It doesn't matter how much reason they have to think, in fact, they're not ENTPs. They will persist in the claim that they are, because for them, type does matter as an arbitrary label that they choose for themselves. When they say they're ENTP, what they're saying is, I am creative. I am smart. I am a source of lots of ideas. I am a good talker. I am all these wonderful things. And the alternative is to think poorly of myself. And so I'm going to choose to think well of myself because my feelings are what ultimately matter. And they're right for them. They should just do that. They shouldn't even care about type at all, really. But if they're going to, fine. Let them all be ENTPs. I don't give a fuck. How about ISTJ?
I know. I was wondering the same thing. That's a good question.
Oh, yeah. They also do that, huh?
They do what?
They tend to think they're INTPs, and it tends to be difficult to shake them of that notion. Almost every ISTJ, every smart ISTJ I've ever typed has pushed back on the typing and wanted to push back again, and eventually I throw up my hands and go, okay, you don't want to hear it. That's SI, personal experience. My personal experience of myself is that I link more to these type descriptions than this type description. And I say, well, that's why you shouldn't use type descriptions. And they say, but I've read a lot of type descriptions, so that's my personal experience. So, but these type descriptions say this and this one say this. That's why I'm saying you shouldn't use type descriptions. And then they'll sort of cherry pick some mechanistic argument and say, well, you said this, and this point of objective data that I'm telling you about my life is more consistent with that one thing. And at that point I just go, counter value TI.
I'm glad that you're talking about the tests though, because even Frank James, who you tested as an INFJ and then he tested himself as an INFJ, he took a third test and he tested as an ISTJ. So it just goes to show.
Yeah, the tests are terrible. But I want to say also, I want to acknowledge that when I initially type policed Frank James, I threw him in the slammer and said he was an INFP. Remember, type police episodes are not typings. That's Sergeant Host Eric, and it has lots to do with his mood. Sometimes he just wants to throw someone in the slammer.
Exactly. It's so easy to call them an INFP too.
I don't know. It's like
it's so funny.
This guy deserves to be in jail. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just in a pissy mood. ISFJ would do the same. Yeah, they do the same too. But I know a couple of ISFJs who think there's something else. They both continue to insist that there's someone else, even though I tell them everything points to ISFJ over and over again. They go, no, I know my own feelings. And it's like, okay, whatever.
Yes.
Hello, and how are you tonight? Everything okay? Yes, everything is well. Go ahead.
Wondering where you were and when you were going to pop up in the chat.
Are you intuiting that there's something hanging over me or something, Winston's mom? To a certain extent, there is, but it's very minor.
Ooh, I want to know. I am getting a little bit warm. I'm going to take the shirt off.
I've been, for the last 3 days, since I got it, I've been telling myself, go online, pay that internet bill. And I'm a little annoyed at myself for not just busting it out and doing it. But, I'm kind of lazy. I do have a slightly sort of down feeling in general, too, because I kind of feel like I'm lacking the necessary impetus to make something good right now. Namely, I'm not feeling especially inspired. I'm not feeling that kind of spracky, stick to it for hours and hours and hours feeling. And I'm feeling kind of SI weak. Like I'm getting tired easily. Just feel in general the thing is, when I look at it objectively, I'm getting plenty of little things done and we accomplish stuff and everything's fine. I just got home from work, for example, and I got a debate tournament this weekend. I have been eating well. We ate well for lunch. We ate well for dinner last night. Yep. And
I ate while you were out. So.
Cool. Did you finish the rest of that sandwich or is there still some left?
I did not. There's left. I had pizza.
So I'll probably have some of that sandwich later. And so, we've been eating well. I could be probably drinking more liquids. I'm a little dehydrated. SI is a matter of concern for us. We talk about it some. We still manage to not be on top of it, really, as much as we should. But the other thing is, I guess, the reality about my mom and dealing in there, that's actually a positive thing that I've been feeling, because it occurs to me this morning, like, okay, Eric, you need to just sort of put a little extra effort in for a while and establish some maximal utility here, because you kind of been half-assing this as far as amount of time put in inside of the house with mom and stuff. And of course, dad is very experience driven. So if I miss a couple of days in a row or something, it's a big deal. If I'm hardcore for a few days, it's also a big deal. So I can sort of mold his perceptions and general satisfaction level with things in general by just changing my amount of presence and activity and impact, basically. How is SI third slot different from SI fourth slot? Well, it's better in the sense that an INTP is much more effective at remembering things than an ENTP. When I was working with Spacey on music stuff, he would memorize the melodies and the lyrics of these songs in just a few practices really quickly. Very impressive. I don't have the ability to do that. I have a lot of trouble remembering any of my songs, frankly. I'm more likely to remember the words than the chords, but whatever. Additionally, SI third with FE fourth would much rather have a fewer number of things that are flawless or close to it, rather than a messy pile of things that are mixed in their FE/SI role. In other words, they'd rather know themselves by the 5 feature films they made, each of which was brilliant, than by the 6,000 YouTube videos they made. That's more of a SI third slot thing. They're not as ambitious in terms of quantity, which coincides with their 7th slot SE. They can't be as ambitious in terms of quality because they're much more deliberative before choosing to act. And so those things tie in. Additionally, the 4th slot FE means they would like for their FE impacts to persist longer over time because they'd like to sort of automate that. If they have things that make them look good, they can reliably expect to frame other people's perceptions of them and not anything that makes them look bad. So they don't have to do any sort of nuanced calculus about FE. It's easier for them and very satisfying to them. INTPs, I'm talking about now. INFPs, it's different because they have TE down there. But so that coincides with the SI big, a few big billboards rather than lots of little signs. Yo Shabada, Yo Shabado, Shabadoo is Joey Shabadoo here. Rachel, do you know where Joey Shabadoo got her name?
No.
The Simpsons. Joey Shabadoo reminds me of you, actually.
Me?
Yeah.
Who is that?
She's an INFJ lady from San Diego.
Oh, I thought you meant the character from The Simpsons, who an actual person reminds. That's cool.
I mean, I think you guys would get along, put it that way.
No, I like that.
You're both INFJs and you have a similar socially interested vibe. Like you like to hang out, so to speak.
Cool.
How much does type matter to me? I guess it depends on the context. I would say, obviously, because I run a YouTube channel about personality type, it's fairly significant that I know my own type and be clear about it, right? And be able to defend it. But independently of that, is being an ENTP important to me? No. I don't identify as an ENTP very high up in my list of things that I identify as. What do you think about Dave Superpower saying that people are blind to what their lead function is? I think it's bullshit derived from a kernel of truth. The kernel of truth is it is fairly common for people to more identify with their tool than their dominant. In other words, to think that their tool function is their dominant and their dominant is their tool. That's fairly common. You'll see a fair number of ENTPs go, I'm too introverted to be an ENTP. I'm an INTP. I'm too TI. I'm too TI to be an ENTP. My TI is too good. Well, they don't know, right? And the same thing with INTPs. My extroverted intuition is too good. I couldn't possibly be an INTP. I am sure I'm very logical, but I'm also really, I couldn't come up with all the possibilities. I mean, I'm badass at the extroverted intuition. I think I'm more identified with that. You might have INTPs who come out as ENTPs, so they think, well, I'm too extroverted to be an INTP or whatever. It's like those things are regularly going to occur. The idea that you are blind to your lead function, not at all true. You might mistake it for your tool function and vice versa, but you're certainly not blind to it. Anybody who actually understands a function by any kind of experiential knowing, in other words, check your actual experience and see what you're doing kind of thing, which SI Polar doesn't, would know that extroverted intuition is their dominant function. Like, you're not going to hit an extroverted intuitor who doesn't understand that extroverted intuition is one of their first or second functions if they understand extroverted intuition at all.
Yeah, it's true, because I don't understand extroverted intuition at all. Do you? I don't know it actually.
It's like the opposite of what you do. What you do is say, here's the obvious truth. When I go, well, it might not be. It could be meow. It could be meow. It could be meow. And what you do when you come up with random little nicknames for me when we're playing vomit-inducing nickname. And I say, I love you. And you say, you're the mayor of Mittentown, like you did last night. That's using extroverted intuition. When you called me your forbidden chocolate, that was using extroverted intuition.
You are.
Lots of other things that we say to each other. When we're in that kind of riffy mode, that's extroverted intuition. We're just sort of throwing random words together for no reason. Can I make machine gun sounds? Pop, 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 bang, 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 pop. Pop, 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 bang, 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 pop, pop. There, like that.
That was like pretty damn.
Oh my God, is somebody firing a machine gun? It sounds so lifelike. Is any the lack of restraint of thought? Perhaps you could say, if you imagine ideation were ninja fighting, Guy Sensei pulls down all the gates. He first pulls down the gate of pain. It's like with first you take down the gate of shame, take down the gate of fear, take down the gate of embarrassment, take down the gate of sense making, and just start spewing gobbledygook at people. Then you're in full blast, Leaf Village, Green Dragon, whatever his power thing is. And sometimes you just get lost and you just sort of flop on the ground and go, whoa, like I just said, That's just extroverted intuition.
It's so funny.
It is. Well, I appreciated it especially because it gives a nod, probably not even conscious, maybe even an unconscious nod to my transracial heritage.
I think so.
Yeah, maybe conscious,
It's pretty conscious. Well, no. I don't know. I feel like it's become more like subconscious than conscious lately.
Well, I tried to pull a tarot card the other day, and I pulled the card out, and it just said, "You are Dolomite," to me. First time I'd ever seen that card. Means I'm a proud African American hero. What is your icon? It is what is it?
It looks like an anime character or some sort of cartoon.
Yeah, the main part was how they just argued over it and stuff. I used to hang out with a bunch of SE and NI users that would tick me off because they thought everyone shared the exact same viewpoint, whether it was looks or anything, would always argue over it. Yes.
Forbidden chocolate is my favorite flavor of ice cream at Friendly's. It's delicious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I am a huge fan of permissible vanilla. Permissible vanilla is one of the least appreciated flavors of Baskin Robbins. Unlike forbidden chocolate, for which you need a permit, permissible vanilla requires no permit. It's permissible all the time. I want there to be a flavor of ice cream at Baskin Robbins that's called forbidden something that they won't serve you. It just sits there looking delicious, and they go, "Ooh, can I have Forbidden raspberry twirl? Sorry, as per the name, that's forbidden. You can't have any of it. None of us can. That's why it's still full.
That's so funny.
You gotta be kidding me. Nope. Why would we call it forbidden otherwise? Why are you calling him Caucasian Isaiah? My race is Caucasian. Oh, I see. You know what? Both of my parents' race are the second kind of Caucasian. I was surprised to see that. They put that on my birth certificate. I was looking at it.
Wait, oh, the other
It
Caucasian?
says, see? Jane Strauss, Caucasian. David Strauss, Caucasian. What the fuck?
What's it supposed to say?
Transracial.
Oh, yeah. They did not take in your human rights as an infant into perspective at all. They didn't consider it at all what you would want.
Right. What race am I right now? I'm Norwegian.
He has been very Norwegian. I can sense that.
Yeah. The thing is, what the doctor should have realized is that for any baby born transracial, that's retroactively impactful. So it makes your parents become transracial, even if they were a single race before you were born.
Whoa.
Eric, can you make a video on ISTJs because you don't have one? ISTJs are great, but it's not fun to type them as ISTJs when they're smart and they think they're not ISTJs. January 9th is the first year anniversary of TWFP live streams. Really? I didn't know that. That's as recent as there?
That's exciting.
I will be the tortoise in this race. I can stash Juliet and Micah Ferret in my show. I think they'll scratch your sensitive turtle underbelly.
Chicks in pumpkin costumes. That's like a thing from How I Met Your Mother.
Chicks in pumpkin costumes?
Yeah, it's a thing from How I Met Your Mother, the pumpkin costume.
How much are typings going for these days? 100 United States dollars. I could be an ISTJ, but I don't anymore. ISTJs can be very good with the demonstrative TI, but they don't like to use it when analyzing their own type. They will fight me on being typed ISTJs. If they're good at their TI, I'll try to point out that their extroverted intuition isn't strong enough to be INTP, but they then say maybe they're ISTP, and I point out that they're not SE, they're SI, obviously, and yeah. They're fine, though. I like them. My friend Cameron's cool. That's ISTP move, Isaiah Rude. That's an ISTP move.
What is?
That is not an ISTJ move. Like ignoring you after you ask them something for 5 minutes, then later, 5 minutes later, come back to answer the question. That's a textbook ISTP move. Hey, ISTP move. Here's a question I'm surprising you with you didn't anticipate. They will literally look at you, not say anything, turn around, walk away from you until they figure out how they want to deliberate the thing, come back and tell you the answer. It's crazy. Rachel's new typing video. Oh, new Rachel's typing video. Okay. Do you always do typing publicly? No. People who want to get typed by me, I want to make this clear. You do not have to have your typings published. That is an option. And sometimes I offer discounts to people who are willing to do so. But anyone may get typed privately without there being any video taken at all, or with there being a video taken but only uploaded to Google Drive and shared with you and not ever published.
I asked the same question.
Jake Hurwitz, you're not an ISTP. Okay? You're not an ISTP.
Would many ISTPs be interested in live chats?
That's very nice of you, Hambone. No, I won't price match Spacey. If you prefer to get typed by Spacey, you get typed by Spacey.
It's okay, Hambone. We all are a floozy at one point or another.
Yeah. I was being a bit of a floozy last night, too. All right, cool, Jake. Ruse, I got a big stream of consciousness today and feel like I've overcome some big NI hurdles. It's weird. That's good. Did you listen, Jake Hurwitz, I gotta tell you, you can save your money. You are an NTP of some sort. You're not an STP. You can throw that notion right out the window. Yeah, I get it, Hambone. Jokes running afoul of text. It happens. Not your fault.
I like Octavio Silva's question because I often wonder how the two cats, Pee and our ESTP cat friend, interact, and if that's true, they're supervisors. I could see that.
ISFP ESTP supervisor relationship function. Well, the ISFP is the supervisor there, and you can see Taylor and Katie play out like that. When Katie gets FI and gets FI stubborn and puts her FI foot down, Taylor buckles. He doesn't know what to do. He is just like, I don't know how to face this FI explosion. I can't fight this. This is not the sort of fighting that I do, which is sort of SE fighting. This is like, I will throw myself upon the rocks of below at the bottom of this cliff before you move me on this point, and the ferocity of it. I faced it before too. I faced ISFP ferocity from Katie when I was arguing with her about what I thought was a better approach to dealing with Taylor's in jailness, and she didn't like it because she thought it was too risky or something, and she turned into this FI monster that I just said, okay, never mind. You just don't want to deal with that FI fucking it's like, no, this is my precious child. It's like Mother Bear, you know, my precious cub. You get near, I will maul you to fucking death. And you know what? I don't give a fuck that much. My bad. You win. My bad.
That's so funny.
That's when you piss an ISFP off. Then you realize who's really boss when it comes down to it.
It sounds like an anime.
Yeah.
Like a.
It's like their eyes go.
And like then like the ESTP like. I'm moving this way because I want.
I don't go in the raw rooms anymore, Hambone. I don't know if anybody goes in there. I need to pay the whereby bill. I need to change the card because my bank changed my card that said we're sending you a new card. Your old card is considered at risk for fraud. Send me a new card, but I need to update it on the Mia now. And I don't go in there anymore in part because I don't want to fight. You know, I don't feel like fighting anymore. It's just not fun. I don't like to go in and battle. You know, even in the live streams, when somebody comes in and they're just too combative over time, I just gotta start ignoring them. It's just not even fucking worth it. It's like there's so many people trying to throw down gauntlets in every direction, and so few of them are worth picking up that I need to remember to, you know, use my discretion. If physical I includes things like electrical circuits, then TI is not just conditional logic. Well, my point about the electrical circuits is that it's non-ordinal. So, you know, there are switches, right, that make it such that it goes from here then to that thing, but it doesn't matter where you place it on the board. There's no physical ordinality to it. You can have it go a longer way around or a less long way around. It doesn't really matter. So in that regard, it's conditional rather than ordinal, but it's still conditionality executed in a physical realm, actual space. Whereas, say, well, I mean, the thing about TE to remember is that it involves a movement from a current status quo to an imagined future. So in that regard, it's ordinal. A circuit board, understanding how that works is like, let's say you need to understand how it works for a reason. Well, it wouldn't be like installing a towel hanger in the bathroom. It would be like putting together an engine. It's synergistic rather than a completion of specific steps to alter the two things, you know? It's kind of a fine distinction, I guess. The thing is, there are some fine distinctions between TI and TE in a couple of spots, like coding, for example. It's TI if you're actually coding out the conditionalities of it. It's TE if you're just plugging in bits of code that are useful from different things in the sort of modular way that people often code. And you can't really simply say coding is one or the other. It depends what kind of coding you're talking about. Can INTPs be good at TE? Yeah, sure. Just like I'm good at NI. It's something that's probably active. You can't, to be a TI DOM means you cannot ignore the link between efficacy and logic. Namely, that something must be translated into actual goal orientation for people to have an interest in it is implicit. And understanding that is something that the nuanced TI of a TI DOM is always going to basically get. So they're not going to give you TI solutions that are efficacy blind. In other words, they're not going to say, here's this impractical but logical thing that you can't possibly do. Because they have fifth slot absolute value TE, they're going to say, here's this plausible and likely with good solvency TI logical thing. They're going to demonstrate, in other words, NI. Here's an NI hole that the world can use or you can use that is both TE aware, TI consistent, and attains some sort of synergy, like an engine or a circuit board in the physical realm. But like an ideationally effective package of ideas in the ideational realm. Okay. That was a lot of talking. That was a lot of talking.
You're a lot of talking.
What do you ask the INFPs, Winston's mom? If you can touch their vagina? That's kind of personal.
It's personal.
You know?
I can't.
I think I'm an ISTP because NI gets me erect. When people tell you NI truths about you or telling other people NI truths, you know, demonstrating NI effectively is like when I demonstrate TE effectively, it makes me kind of proud of myself. Hey, see, I fucking pulled that shit off. But it doesn't mean I want other people to constrain me with TE utility constraints or, you know, but what, you know, Eric, but why are you telling people like that? Because you're not going to change their mind. That's a fucking TE argument. I'm telling people like that because they're wrong. That's TI response, right? If you really want to get results with your channel, Eric, you wouldn't talk to people like that. That's a TE goal-oriented framework. If you really wanted to stop getting my foot up your ass, you wouldn't say stupid shit from TE framework to me. Is a TI response. To any TI specifically. It's not a TI-NE response. Because a TI-NE response would be, I have thought of those utility things. That's why I did it this way, and Henry is consistent with that, and it does uphold that to the best of my ability, and it would argue consistency with it. So, you know, they countervalue other people telling them NI. Here's the NI truth. You'll never mean to me because me. Something. They'll be like, fuck you. Your NI truths don't constrain me. Your NI can't stop the power of my extroverted intuition from knowing all the other possibilities. I'll be like that. Me, I'll be like, I can defend under NI grounds. I absolutely can and should. I do uphold under NI grounds. That's what I'll say. And fuck your TE. They'll say, I can't do uphold in their TE grounds, and fuck your NI.
Glad you're liking these.
These are good pistachio nuts.
They are.
They're so much better than mustachio nuts,
So much better.
which tastes like mustaches. Why'd you put nips? Whose nips are you looking at? Demonstrating an NI seems instant, while the other functions seem more processy. How would an NI process look like? Well, good question. I found Bacon. It's hard for me to conceive of what NI conscious looks like. I would simply say that Phoebus, you're getting timed out. Unless you're talking to new Rachel, then it's
I'm the
okay.
cutest pumpkin alive, so it's no big deal, Cubis.
Lamau, listen, for everyone who's using Lamau or Raffle, I want you to incorporate more blah-ha-ha-ha-has. Rachel, don't wow me. Okay? Now it's not time for World of Warcraft. Wouldn't chess be too out of your description then? I was thinking about that, Pathology. It's a great point. It's the first argument against my thing that I thought this morning. Well, doesn't that incorporate chess too? The answer is no, because it's not really conditional. It's it's spatial. If you try to do it conditionally, like I do, you suck at chess. People who are good at chess don't play. If he moves there, then I'll move there, and then he'll move there, and then I'll move there. That's people who are bad at chess, like me. I do that when I play chess. That's not a good way to play chess.
Chess is like you stay in your own lane kind of thing, right? But then you assess who's going to be. Like, I know a lot of INTJs that play chess.
With chess, you're supposed to go, okay, I'm going to move here because I'm trying to control this section of the board. And I mean, I don't even quite get it. They go, I'm going to begin with this opening. Like they learn existing SI packages, like heuristics. And they think about it in terms of controlling space and other sort of TE frames. If you try to work it out, if he goes there, then I'll go there, and then he'll go there. Without sort of seeing a patterny thing in some way, you'll never be good at chess. I just put him on timeout. I didn't hide him from the channel or anything. Because
He'll be back.
The first time he went with that thing, I let it slide yesterday or whenever. The second time, it's repetitious, not just faintly insulting. So, he failed on a ground of novelty, and he knows that he himself knows that if he doesn't uphold that frame, he's got nothing to complain about. Don't recycle the ham if it failed the first time. All right. Any advice for dealing with the thousands of hot female stalkers now that I'm YouTube famous? Get a girlfriend and don't look back, and then you don't have to worry about them. What are they going to do? Hey, Mike Hart, please leave your girlfriend and fuck me. She's like, no, go away. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Or go, girlfriend, I'm not happy. I got to bail. But, find that out quick and decide quick as you can. But if you're like me and you get the right one, if you get the wrong one, if you're like me and you get the wrong one, you'll stick in it for years anyway. If you're like me and you get the right one, you'll be like, halla motherfucking Lulia. That's biblical plus modern colloquial.
Also with little Sanrio Hello Kitty in there.
In God's Big Heaven Church, which is the church that I'm starting, which is its main advertising notion, is that because it's the newest of the churches, it's the only church that has heaven that has Wi-Fi in it. And the biggest heaven, too. Plenty of room in God's Big Heaven.
We've talked about this.
Yeah.
We got plenty.
And, if you go to Catholic heaven, do you think they had Wi-Fi installed back when they had Catholic heaven made? No. It's nothing but papyrus. If you want to send an email in Catholic heaven, first thing you have to do is write it down on papyrus and submit it to the Pope's tech branch, which then sends it off to another heaven and gets forwarded to another one and finally gets emailed. It's a big pain in the ass. So that's why join me today in
Was-
God's Big Heaven Church.
Yeah. And my heart, like, take some of the stuff with a grain of salt. Suss them out a little. Be discerning, not judgmental.
Don't send dick pics.
Do not.
If you want to show a little strong, then be in a video conference and make it such that the other party shows part of their body as well. So at least there's mutual concurrent risk and you're not getting played at all. You know, if typology became accepted, I can see typism being a problem. I mean, typism is not necessarily a problem depending on how it's being used. If I'm saying I want to hire somebody to be effective at following through on this set of routine tasks, and I don't want to hire an INTP or an INFP, they're not going to be any good at it. Is that being typist? Yes. Is it a good idea? Yes. Also, I have tons of horribly awkward conversations with people that I attributed to polar any. I mean, I could be wrong, Jake. I haven't actually typed you. I guess the arguments you told me you came up with for like, well, I thought I'd go with this. Too many ideas in there. Like, I don't think an ISP would have a good answer at all for a lot of those questions until they had been told a good answer by another person. NTJs and STJs love chess, or TJs for short. You hate on INFP all the time. I do not hate on INFPs. I like INFPs. INFPs are a special kind of NFP that's I. They're a special kind of INF that's P. And they're a special kind of INP that's F. Plus a special kind of IFP that's N. So they're all of those things. Their functions, the first two spell out the word fine. And the second two spell out the word site. S-I-T-E. Fine site. Isn't that fun? That's fun. My pumpkin. Listen, Hambo. Don't you start pumpkining around. All right. The thing about telling a girl she looks like a pumpkin is it implies that she's fat.
No, you know what? It's a compliment. Sexy Pumpkin was on How I Met Your Mother. I take it as a compliment. Thank you to all you.
That's what they call my bottom, too. Back in school, they used to call it the sexy pumpkin, my butt.
It really is.
Mm-hmm. All the teachers in the teacher line would call it sexy pumpkin.
Good taste. You know, Isaiah Root, it's funny. Back in New York, I knew a lot of INFPs. INFPs were the first type that I ever learned about. I don't know why.
Jean Gray. I found out a friend of mine is INFP. Eric, oh my gosh, Jean, I am so sorry to hear that.
That's what I used to think as well.
I'm just kidding, INFPs. I like INFPs fine.
Me too.
I do not have anything against INFPs. They're very sweet people. They're not a problem. They don't make me
Do anything.
suffer pains. I don't hate ENTJs. ENTJs are frustrated with me typically, you know, but I certainly don't hate them. Are they emotional? What? INFPs? They're a little moist, a little damp.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're constantly dipping their towelette in a bucket of moist waters.
It's like that Vine of the kid. My mom took away my phone. And he has a pillow over her head and he's crying. He's like, "You're such a bitch!" Just because she took away his phone. It's an INFP.
Well, INFPs are not just jokes about INFPs. INFPs are probably the least likely of all types to carelessly hurt somebody. Now, that doesn't mean they are the least likely to hurt somebody. They may hurt somebody because they're able to justify bullshit to themselves.
Mhm.
But as far as carelessly hurt somebody, like accidentally say something mean, they've got to be the least likely type to accidentally say something mean. They're accounting for your feelings more than your feelings ought to be accounted for, or that you're accounting for them.
Yes, I had an INFP friend, and I was uncomfortable with the amount of questions that she was asking me about my feelings. I was like, can we talk about something else? Oh, it sounds like you're feeling something and that you want to talk about it.
Okay, so Rachel, I don't mean to listen. Are you comfortable if I talk about your split ends? I don't want you to feel ashamed. I don't want you to feel hurt at all. I just want to mention something. I'm sorry I even called them that. I'm sorry I called them split end. I mean, if I were to talk about the ends of your hair and how instead of unified, they've developed or evolved into twos, would that hurt your feelings?
It sounds like your feelings are hurt. Did someone talk about your hair lately?
Are you talking about my hair? What are you saying? Are you talking shit about my hair? Rachel, are you?
Did someone talk about your hair recently?
You are apparently. Again, everybody's talking about my hair!
I understand.
My ends are so split.
You gotta give them lots of compliments.
I look like a fork in the road.
You gotta give them lots of compliments. I like your hair no matter what. INFPs, do whatever you want to it.
INFPs are the unattractive man's special advantage. Okay? Looks don't matter.
No, they
if
don't.
they like you. It's in fact, it's incredibly insulting to consider that anybody might consider that looks matter at all. That's appalling. You want to piss off an INFP, you tell them, I really like this girl, but she's just not attractive enough.
Oh my gosh. How about an INFP trying to decide between two people?
It's going to take a while.
Oh, I stay out of it.
It's going to take a long while for them to make that decision. And remember, because they're SE polar, they don't get that indecision is a way of making decision. You know, that failing to act is as good a way to make a decision, to take action, as any other. It's just as certain a way to take action.
But you know, the thing is, I feel like a lot of intuitives will understand them kind of with that, like, yeah, you know, they are like that. But any INFP friend that I had, I always let them get away with everything because I know that they're just living their life.
Nicholas Watson says, is it possible for an INTP to be high in Machiavellianism on the dark side? I'm not going to say no, it's not possible, but I would indicate that it may be the case. It's just a hypothesis that of the dark triad things, Machiavellianism might correlate with weak NE, weak extroverted intuition. The reason I say that is because it's a very NI way of dealing with bad FE. Now, bad FE, yeah, I'd like one, thank you. Do you get one for yourself too?
Yeah.
Okay. Bad FE is manifest in both types with any polar, that is, say, ISFP and ISTP. Thank you, Poopy. Everybody smells their own poop. Jet High, I can only crush on one at a time. I mean, do about my mind. Well, I share that with you, INFP, and an ENTP. And what it boils down to, I think, is if you're an intuitive and really good at FI, then you take it so seriously that you can't afford FI to multiple people. If you're an ENTP and intuitive and have shitty FI, then you can't handle.
Escúchame.
I mean, you can't control it. It's like, it's not like shitty FI means less FI. It means being unable to correctly contextualize it, really. So I can't conceive of how to keep in mind the other person's feelings enough if I'm trying to date two people at once. I can't possibly handle that FI calculation. It's too complicated. So I just don't do that. So kind of the same conclusion from different spots of FI in the stack. Different parts of the stack of FI. Let me go like this. There were too many issues, too many for them all to be fixed. For example, she'd run up and sodomize you when you weren't looking, Mike Hart. That is a problem. Especially if you're in the middle of a business meeting. It's really not cool.
Yeah. Bad for business.
Yeah. Ew, take it, Mark. Take it, Mike. Take it, Mike Hart. Half about a finna. You half about a finna? That's great, Hambone.
Out of your
asshole. That's where he's going to poop this time.
I'm so happy that it's out of your asshole.
Colin Sanders. You know, I think you should call him Colin Sanders Bernie Powell.
Is it really corny to call him a major poop?
That's why I never conduct a business while pleasuring. Good point, Earl. Good point.
Yes. ENTJs probably came up with that. Although they do mix it sometimes. They like it in the office. Careful with that, women.
I'm a pretend I didn't hear that, Lamau, says Laura Payne. What you gonna pretend that you didn't hear, Laura Payne? Ah, says Laura Payne. That's the sound she makes when Mike Hart sodomizes her. Ah, finally.
Refreshing sodomize.
Boy, did I need that refreshing sodomize scene.
I really like Noah McFarlane's question. What's an INFP male like when horny?
Rachel, I'll let you answer that one. I'll go smoke a cigarette.
I actually don't know any INFP. I just picture Neil Diamond making a song. So
I picture some serious love making going on. Like, baby, you bring joy to my penis today. Let's make love the INFP way. INFPs don't get horny? I find that unlikely. Hashtag cool dad. Do you have a cool dad, Earl? Is he an INFP?
Earl is from his icon is from an old TV show.
Well, I'm familiar with that show.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
didn't-
okay.
Didn't watch it, but know what it refers to.
I watched 2 seasons of it.
If a word is a word, then what is a
horny,
word?
so the same. No, I mean, if you're an INFP, it's probably like I would imagine it was changing. Like my girlfriend, who was an INFP, she was not sure of her sex constantly. She was asexual, then she was bisexual, then she was a lesbian. So I would think that an INFP would ebb and flow. Everybody hates Earl or something. Yeah, something right. Yeah, it's okay. My name is Earl. Yeah. It was like, yeah, it's all right. I laughed during parts of it, which I think it was what it was supposed to. Felicity, what did you walk into? You walked into a live chat. Max Kempf. In which does wisest Anne? That is a very good question. You should ask someone else about it. Winston's mom. Ethan McDonald asked him to talk to INTJ Island. He's closer to age to me than to you, and he's parental unit, smart person. He might have good ideas. He has been retired for now a while now. Octavia Silva, hi, flow state. Octavia Silva, I appreciate the celebration emoji. Everybody hates Chris. I've never seen that show. Hey, hi. What's my type? My type is INFJ. What about bisexual chicks? I like them. I feel like most people would answer that who are male. What's going on? INFPs. Let's move on from INFPs. They get a lot of slack. They cry a lot. They feel everything, and they can't make decisions, but they love everyone just the same. So they don't judge us, so we should not judge them. So we talked about ESTJs, we talked about ISTJs, we talked about INTPs. I'm going to shit on ESFPs. There's nothing wrong with being who you are. You should stick to dancing because you are very good at dancing and good at acting and being funny for who you are. You make people laugh because of your diminutedness. Enjoy that. A lot of guys are drawn to you just because of your looks, and you know that. ESFPs are not perfect. They know this, and they're funny for it. They're the ones who will get people out of a rut. They're the first ones who will point you out in a crowd. They'll do your hair. They'll take you dancing. You want to have a good time? You should find an ESFP. Just 80% of K-pop fans are INFP, I guess. I would probably say that is, or ISFJ too.
The thing about ESFPs I mentioned is they'll give you their intense attention.
Yeah,
So
they do.
If like
They
you're
do.
getting it there, the thing is, it comes with a price of sort of arbitrary expectations, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, so I had a girlfriend who was a clear ESFP, and she always wanted to hang out with me, and it was so flattering. I loved her. She was such a good friend. But when I didn't want to hang out with her, that was the problem. It got a little pushy.
What's Toko Kan Avara? Okay.
They are loud. ESFPs are very loud.
ESFPs, I mean, the best ESFP to reference in all of media is Naruto. Naruto is an ESFP in an ESFP's world where passionate conviction and lots of effort and lots of doing and lots of follow through and lots of, putting a handle on shit in the physical world is a powerful way to get ahead.
Yo, ESFPs dominate New York. Are you kidding me? Like, ESFPs are all over the place. They are great. I'm just saying, we're shitting on INFPs. I'm going to shit on ESFPs. Whoa. Damn, yo. You guys are not even on your likes and dislikes.
I don't think anybody busted your chops about it, did they?
No, they're all saying, I love INFPs.
Oh, one person said it.
No, I'm telling you this. You're right, people. We do shit on INFPs here, and I feel bad.
I don't mean to shit on INFPs.
I know, it's just because you understand them the least.
I don't know what those things are.
What things? Oh, those are just trolls.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay. You're not on the same page there, Hambone. I try not to shit on anybody. I may tease a little bit, and I recognize that it's important for me to be careful with my words. It's one of the things that I'm continuing to develop in regards to that. When I am unnecessarily harsh, it can have some bad impacts that are avoidable and probably I ought to avoid.
Exactly. Every type has their their size. I'm just having fun.
Thank you, Hambone. The thing is, here's the deal. I used to do a lot of that kind of shit. Hambone, you want to get him? I'll get him. My Hambone got him. Okay, thank you. He's double timed out. Okay. Oh,
Aw.
ESTP Taylor's in the house and he's slinging some woo at Ken Krishna Sarma Pagoo.
Why can't I see? I know, Winston's mom. I'm wondering the same thing. Why can't we see the naughty comments?
We timed him out. I saw him.
Oh.
Yeah. If you're not seeing the ones that people are timing out on, then you say you have live chat, not top chat. So I don't have any other explanation for you. Jeebus, sup? How you doing? They're not naughty. They're just spammy. Yeah, they're being a little spammy. I don't know what those words they're using are. I wish I could transition into each type and choose the one I like most, or use them all depending on mood.
Hambone's right. They're very spammy. It's just like almost.
Okay. Well, you'd have to be. It's an interesting question in general. This notion of like how one is differently when one is engaged in a non-habituated function. For example, there was a time towards the end of my last relationship where I spent some time just sort of standing in front of the pond and doing FI deliberation. It was taking a really long time. But there was a solid hour for sure where I was in FI. I noted it at the time. I was able to draw some conclusions about it almost while I was engaged in it, but mostly I was attending to the FI. But I noted that when it was over too, how different it was, how I lost the ability to put myself in that frame after a while, after a certain amount of distance from it. I've also experienced it in this relationship on a couple of occasions where I need space to pull away and process something with my FI. It's usually something where I've chosen to get my feelings hurt, even though they ought not be hurt, because I've done this thing I do where I interpret the words you say in the worst possible way so that they are hurtful. So, or I interpret them such that I interpret them plus everything one might deduce from them. And yada, yada. What's the acronym for not into sex at all? Nisa?
Ask Google.
Yeah.
I would say asexual, but that's.
I don't think that's an acronym.
No, it's not.
So what type is Joe Rogan? This links to my previous question. I think Joe Rogan's an ESTP. What types are most incels? Probably INTPs, possibly INFPs, but they probably wouldn't identify as such. They'd probably identify as, having complicated feelings about whether or not they want to date or something. Could it be that the interfacer STJ dad and caregiver SFJ mom combination of your parents makes you more NE as a child, and the interfacer NTJ and Benjamin's SFP combo makes you more NI? Any thoughts? I mean, I don't know when type comes into. I don't know when type comes into play, like in terms of your stage development.
I've been wondering about that too.
I can tell you this. Delilah seems to have had the same personality since birth. And to the extent that you could tell a person's personality at birth. For example, she, when she was born, it took them a long time to let her out of the hospital. And the reason is because she wouldn't pee. She kept holding her pee. Now, that could be, you could say, well, that's consistent with a few possibilities. Consistent with 5th slot SI, consistent with 7th slot SI, consistent with 4th slot SI.
And Mike Hart, I'm sorry, I totally interrupted there. It's because they're in your dreams.
It's okay. Don't worry about interrupting, baby. Interrupt me all you want.
Because it's all in your head.
Mike Hart must be because you're an irresistible male, an irresistible bastion of malehood. That must be the reason. Your masculine musk must waft into the noses of passing by women and drive them mad with lust. That's the only conclusion I can draw.
It happens.
Let's see. INTJs, yes. I was also going to say ISTJs potentially as well. Although my friend Cameron's ISTJ, he certainly seems to have some capacity to get chicks. You love your taint.
I mean, that's a good thing. I'm happy to hear that. You should love yourself in as many ways as possible. Self-love is very important.
Don't people say my taint stink too bad? I ain't taking none of that. I love my taint stench. I love it. Get down there. It's good. Gamey.
Maxi-Kempf. I will date my INTJ girl, but I have to get a car first. Okay, go do that.
Why do you have to get a car to date her? Why can't you meet her someplace? You know what would be really unfortunate if like the lookout point near your hometown was named after a guy whose last name was Raping. Because then you'd have to tell the girl, like, do you want to go to Raping Point? And she'd be like, no, I don't, actually. And he'd say, no, it's just the name of the point. She says that it doesn't matter. It's ruined the whole thing.
Yeah, that killed. That's a
Yeah. Probably a lot of different names. This would be bad names, I could imagine. But anyway, what am I chewing? Cud. Like I always chew. Mike Hart, what are you going to do about it? It seems you'll be very busy in the future. Are you going to fuck your way through your local metropolis, Mike Hart? That's a good way to be left hollow and filled with despair. I think Family Guy had an anal point. They had an anal point?
Or an anal point. What's an anal point?
A banal point? Not a fan of one night stands. You like the sex to last a full 48 hours. Constant poking. Mark Hart, he goes balls deep and 2 nights deep as well.
Are you a fan of Dirty Sanchez's? I don't even really know exactly what it is. I don't remember. It's disgusting though. Stupid. Arabian Goggles. That's when you hang the balls on the woman's eyes.
Oh, that sounds fun. Arabian Goggles. That's funny.
It's funny.
Isn't that called teabagging though?
No, teabagging's in the mouth. You should ask more ESTPs about this stuff.
Oh.
Actually, don't.
No, thank you. Okay. So let's smoke a bowl.
Yeah.
There you
Ooh.
go. Alabama Hot Pocket.
Bigger.
That's
Leave
gross.
alone. I really wasn't hoping to remember. I just remembered
That's
the name.
disgusting.
The tickle jiggler is when you go under the sack and you go like that a little bit. What type is that? It's the Dirty Sanchez ECJ.
Yes,
Okay, I'm sorry. Back to our regularly scheduled program.
Yeah, there's a lot of names I want to come up with for sex things that are that are not defined what section they are, but just have words like a Mexican ranch title. Philanthropist banquet. Philanthropist banquet sounds like a very, very intriguing sex act. I don't know what it is, but it sounds gross.
And thank you, Earl. I take that as a compliment.
Thanks, Earl.
My name's Earl or something.
All right. For example, someone is in love with someone who is not really interested to be with anyone yet or just not available. Is it then okay to just be with someone else who is available but still hope one day to be with one he actually loves? No. You can't maintain that hope to be with the other person while being with somebody else. But you can begin dating knowing that you still lament the loss of that person, but planning to get over that person by dating. That's fine. You can't go into dating saying, all these people are people I will date, but I'm going to have to give them a stipulation. Listen, if the girl I really love comes back, then I'm going to dump you and go with her. Okay. That'll be a healthy relationship. That'll go well. The other person's going to love that.
Some people stick around.
Well, I mean, it's going to create nothing but fucking horrible feelings for both parties. Ultimately, you're not going to feel good about yourself for doing it to them, and they're not going to feel good about themselves for letting it be done to them, even if they do. No, identical twins do not come out the same type, so that's a good reason to think that type is determined before birth, maybe at conception. Maybe it's contained within the sperm. Maybe that's one factor about a person's type is contained within the sperm. And so, if you get identical twins, is that just one sperm fertilize both of them if it's identical?
And then it splits in half.
Oh.
I think that might be it.
Oh. Okay. So it splits in half.
Yeah.
No, there couldn't be in the sperm.
See, it's interesting because it could be in the sperm.
It couldn't be. If it splits in half from one sperm, then identical twins would disprove the sperm thesis.
So I knew identical twins. I just knew identical twins. And they were very similar, but different at the same time. They both were on track. They were both good in science, but like one was more extroverted than the other. There were
Jen and Kendall Johnson were definitely different types. They were identical twins that I knew in college. And my roommate slept with both of them.
Did he think that they were different too?
He went out with one of them for a while. Yeah, I mean, they were obviously different. They were so obviously different.
That's cool. I like that.
Jen was a sex addict, I guess. I mean, it was difficult not to sleep with her. Jen was a smart, intuitive sex addict, probably ENFJ, I guess. Kendall was dumb as a bucket of rocks. I don't know what type she was. She said so many fucking ridiculous things. We play like Trivial Pursuit. She's the one who said this when we read a golf question she read, who won the Man Golf for me? And I don't know. Nobody knew the answer. She read the back. Chai Rodriguez. It was just like that kind of shit happened all the time. Yeah, she was just, it was a dumb girl, pretty girl, very dumb. And she was very different from her sister, is the point. And they didn't even look the same by the time they were in college. Like Jen had plumped up, and Kendall was still pretty.
It's so interesting how that happened.
Small-bodied, I guess you'd say. My INTJ friend thought it should be the art agency is thought. I mean, the art agency is language. A little different than thought. Because the kind of thoughts that don't conform to that definition are covered in visuals or other media. So in other words, it's trying to claim too much ground for agency. If you want the taxonomy chunks to be the same size, I guess. If someone's considered an incel by everyone else, but they don't see themselves as an involuntary virgin, they really an incel, they wouldn't. I mean, I think it's a self-identification thing. I don't think other people identify people as incels. Nobody says to somebody, "You're an incel." They say, people say, "I'm an incel," meaning I'm involuntarily celibate. The celibate part might be something that other people might know, but probably wouldn't know unless you told them. The involuntary part, they couldn't possibly know without asking you whether you wanted to be celibate or not. MT, they were apparently identical twins. They said they were identical twins. I saw pictures of them as little girls that looked
Identical twins are proud that they're identical. They wouldn't make that up. I mean, they could potentially, but not usually.
People online call others incels all the time. I mean, well, if somebody's calling you an incel online, like presumably in like comments or something, they have no possible way of knowing anything about you. How could they? It's like saying you have sickle cell anemia. How the fuck do you know? No, I'd say they're less arty about their agency. It's the art of agency. It's not agency itself. All right, I gotta go see if my dad needs help with my mom here or something.
I will.
I'm gonna go check on it inside and see what's going on.
Yeah. Oh, with your mom?
Yeah. Can you helm the ship for a bit?
Yeah. IIQ insult is something like shame monkey. Yeah. Are ISXPs less engaging with the art of agency?
Yeah. They're less arty about agency. They're not less agential. They're less agential in arty ways, I guess you could say. You aren't an artist. You just a fartist. You an ISTP.
Aren't they artisans?
Yeah, they're artisans. They're craftsmen. They're not artists. They don't create. They execute, making singular things or whatever. They get a craft. They get really good at it. They refine the things. So they make it over and over and over again. It gets better and better and better. Although, I mean, that's kind of ISTJ too, but Lamau love this channel. Do INFPs typically enjoy ENTP humor because it makes the most sense to me and makes me laugh like no other. Hi, I appreciate your kind words and your good humor. I don't know if INFPs normally like it or not, but I'm glad you do, regardless of your type, because I live to make others laugh.
It's true. Your mom's a shame monkey. Live chat. I do enjoy the humor as well, except when it's not funny. Noah McFarlane, that sounds about right. Winston's mom. Shunned sex is strange and should be shunned sounds like something Jim Morrison would write. I don't know Jim Morrison that well. I don't know his stuff that well, honestly. Hambone is a gerbil squeezer. It takes one to know one, Jeebus. It takes one to know one. Elijah, I couldn't answer that. Gonna have to ask Eric. Did I ever watch any soaps? Winston's mom asks. I did sometimes. My mom watched them a lot. I wasn't really allowed to watch them. Sometimes when I got older, I was able to watch them with her a little bit, but I can't really say that I was a soap opera fan. They seem funny to me. Do you watch any soap operas? I actually have a lot of friends who watch soap operas on the regular and Lifetime shows. Lobotomy. It's a big operation. Scrubs is great. It's pretty funny. I liked it. Scrubs made me laugh at points. That's cool, Winston's mom. Shift work is not easy. Not everyone can do shift work. I know. I'm not really. It's true, Jean Grey. I believe also that you can learn a lot about humans, human relationships by watching them. Does Eric have me on a strict fast food diet? No. Noah McFarlane. I'm going to any, mini, miny, mo, my type, and whatever I get is my type. You should definitely do that. Let me know what you get. I'm interested. Faces come out of the rain when you're strange. No one remembers your name. When you're strange. When you're strange. I like Ally Woman. I like that. Social stuff was really hard for me, so I watch soaps, and this helps a lot. I don't hate on them. I absolutely get why people watch them. They're highly entertaining. It just wasn't really my jam. Jean Grey. But a lot of people like them. They're great. They're stories. I know Dallas was kind of like that too, but at nighttime. I worked 2 days, 2 swings, 2 mids, and 4 off. We worked 12 on 12 off command post, 2-man operation, 24/7. Interesting career choice. Wow, Winston's mom, that's impressive. What do I think of narcissism? I think it exists. What do you think of it? That it exists. There are narcissistic people. But I also heard about a story about Narcissus and Echo in Greek mythology. So, which had another look on it, so it was interesting. You love The Doors, Nicholas Watson. I'm glad to hear that. I'm sure Jim Morrison is singing your praise right now. The Doors are good. ESFJ. Well, if you're an ESFJ, then you should perfect recipes and then hand them on to family members and loved ones, friends too. Go to a lot of social events and know everyone's name. And always keep up with the trends. Days of Our Lives in Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara. I've never heard of that one. Or I've heard of it, but I've never watched. Days of Our Lives, I do know well. I know a lot of people who watch that. I think my mom watched that. If you're really up on volume, soap operas are awesome. Nicholas Watson. I'll take your word for it. Sorry that narcissism gets in the way of your awesomeness, Earl. Have I ever read Macbeth? I saw the movie, which makes me think I actually did read it, but I don't remember enough to have enjoyed it that much. Luke and Laura, Days of Our Lives, that was classic. Cool, Marcel, Bud. Jeebus is ascending. Nice, Joel, Nathan Henry. Watching out for other live streamers. Yeah, Hambone. I like this. I'm liking this. I just sent my dick pics to that number and received a signed picture of Eric in the mail. That's a good try, but that's not his number. He actually can't find that phone. Do this. I really love Sharpays, Jean Grey. They're so cute. As a kid, me and my sister had these a collection of figurine figurine dogs, and one of my favorites was a Shar-Pei because it just looks so cute to me. Norman Watts, where do I see myself in the next 5 years? Happy with the family. Doing stuff, seeing people, creating art. Octavia Silva, I actually really like that idea. Letting Jeebus be a moderator for a day and see what happens. Maybe on Christmas or something like that. Maybe a special occasion. I would really like to see that too. You feel like your name should be Dick Pics Earl. Actually, Dick Pics Earl has a nice ring to it. You're welcome, Jean Grey. How do you like being on stream? Stream is good. Greek mythology is awesome, especially like the tale of Lycaon at the moment. I do not know that myth. I will check that out, actually. Thank you, Marcel, Bud. How am I at multitasking? Pretty good. I'm pretty good at multitasking. I like to listen to music and play video games at the same time. Sometimes I'll even have TV on in the background. But I'm only looking at one thing, which is usually the video game. Jeebus will have a lot of fun if he's moderator. I think it'd be great. It's a great idea. I'm going to definitely let Eric know about that. Let's wing. For a charm of powerful trouble like a hell broth boil and bubble. William Shakespeare, Macbeth. What kind of art do I make? I like to draw. Drawing's my thing. I've been working on cards with Eric. Where are they? And we're both drawing them actually. This is one of them that I made. There's this one. This one's not finished. And yes, I was inspired by BoJack Horseman. So, yeah, I like to draw. Thanks, Octavio Silva. Cool, Luis Dizon. The INF boy next door. It's fun. I could do it for a long time. Drawing, that is. Play God of War. I've heard of God of War. I actually saw clips of God of War when I was doing research on Zeus. I was born in the year of the dragon, but I'm INFP. Something has to give there. Maybe you should watch How to Train Your Dragon. It's a good movie. How about sculpting? I can sculpt too. It's not really my cup of tea. I don't really like sculpting. The only reason I don't like sculpting is because every time I made something in the kiln, it would break. So, thanks, Jake Hurwitz. Thank you. Thank you I do love entertainment, and I'm glad that you think those are two great shows. Are you, Octavio Silva? Are you really sculpting right now? God of War's fun. It looks fun. How much planning before you draw? Okay, so sometimes a little bit too much planning, to be honest with you. The fact that I'm with Eric right now is really helping me because he encourages me to draw, so I get more into the habit of it. But if I get on a project and I'm not liking the way that it's turning out, it can just sit there forever. So that's awesome, Octavio Silva. Highly impressed. Do you find it meditative? Highly understand tongue of dog. Who are you? Marcel Bouvet, that's interesting. I feel like I tattooed loser on my face area. Sorry about that, dick pics. Mrs. Mom is the best. You're right, Jean Grey. Yo, Jeebus. Yeah, I'm actually new to it. I'm finding that I like it more than drawing, I think. Wow. Well, you are an excellent drawer. But that's like very encouraging to hear that you enjoy sculpting. It's like drawing. It probably is. I mean, I like painting too. I do watercolor, pastels. I've done clay before. I do things with wire. Aww. Thanks, Octavio Silva. 3D drawing. Yeah, it is 3D drawing. I just don't see it like that. She loves this channel. You're right. Jean Grey. Pee-pee. It's good to see you. Clay and wire can go together. I think, ironically, yes, they can. First, last, they do. They can. I struggled with those a little bit. Who's the mascot? Winston's mom is the mascot. You are not Jean Grey, exactly. Beep. Cool. Thanks for the link, Octavia Silva. Wow. That's great. I love it. Is that you? Chilly. These are Eric's drawings. He's very talented too. It's one of your characters. I like it. It's great. I heard one time that artists tend to draw portraits of other people similar to themselves. So say if you're an artist, you have a big nose, you're going to have a habit of drawing people with big noses. I guess maybe because we look at ourselves most in the mirror. I don't know. Hey, I want to see this, Octavia. That's a really good idea, First Last. You could probably collab with a story maker and make a story out of animations with that stuff. I always wanted to do a script and make stories as well. Celia Rude, if you're still here, it's okay. You can talk about your dinner and bathroom habits. I was too harsh. Aw, Hambone. Did you try Mademoiselle? Caricatures. Caricatures are fun too. Can't time out fellow mods. What is it a character for? Octavio Silva. Do you have a story going on? Hey, Shawty Trandran. It's good to see you. He's Octavio Silva, you're so dead on with that. ISTPs are very knifey. Like, ooh. It's cold out there. It's California Valley. ISTPs are intense. You're right. They are intense. It's a good word for them. You do have characters first. I love that. I love that you have characters for a story. I was just closing the door. It's cold outside. Just a heads up, Shreddy. Hammy's in a mood tonight. In the mood for what? For love? Is that one of the moods? Good question, Shreddy. Why is always a good question, especially when you don't understand. Yeah, Hambone. Thank you, Jean Grey. I appreciate that. I really like talking to all of you. It's fun. It's really fun. Hambone is just expressing himself through wrench powers even alone. You know what? That is a good point. You know, everyone has their days. ICUs are a bunch of campers. I actually see ISTPs as a bunch of ninjas, but they like to go at it alone. They have other friends. They're like ENFPs. ENFPs and ISTPs go have a nice friendship. Hammy took one too many gerbils, I think. Maybe. Tonight. Oh. Tonight. Like LCD Sound System. It's a good song. Actually, I should put that link in there. It's a really good song. Glad to see you're back, Isaiah Rude. Here comes Eric. How'd it go?
It went fine. Okay, well, I'm about ready to wrap this
Yeah.
up. Are you?
Me too.
Can you use the mouse to push end stream?
Sure.
It's right behind the pot.
Right here?
Yep.
Bye, guys. Don't forget to eat your cheese.
Click and end.